guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tanya from Baby J'adore. For those who already subscribed, thank you, and for those who are new, welcome. So this video is basically a part 2 of the previous video I uploaded. I will be talking about the program that I picked to become a lactation consultant. I will talk about the resources and the book that I had to purchase, and toward the end I'll talk about tips and tricks to help you guys pass the exam at the first try. All right, let's get started. So you can find all the information at lactationtraining.com. That is where I enrolled to become a lactation consultant. The reason why I chose this particular program is because the lactation consultant that was helping me breastfeed, that's how she got certified. And so she basically sold me on the actual product. She sold me on it, and I went and did my research, and I decided to go through them. So like I said, it is called lactationtraining.com. It is founded by Virgie Hughes, and she's been in the game for over 20 years, helping over 3,000 breastfeeding lactation consultants pass the IBCLC exam. So that's basically the reason why I opted for that particular one. It's also within the area I live in. They have online classes and live classes, so I didn't know which route I was going to take, so I was glad to see that at least it was close to home. So I really enjoyed that about the program. And yeah, I did a little bit more research about another online class, but I decided to go with lactation training, and I'm glad I did. All right, so now I'm talking about the different pathway that you can take. So I think there's a misconception, well, there are several misconceptions about lactation consultants, but one of the biggest ones is you don't have to be a medical personnel to be a lactation consultant. So you have, regular people who basically just take the required classes and then take the continuing education that is required, and then they become lactation consultants. So she does offer 2 different pathways on her website, and I'm just gonna briefly give you the descriptions or the definitions of each pathway. So the first pathway, which is what I fell under because I am a medical healthcare personnel, she says that this pathway is generally for individuals who have already obtained a minimum of 1,000 hours of lactation specific clinical experience through paid or volunteer work as a recognized health professional. So I fell under that category. And if you guys are interested, here are a few health professionals that she is referring about. So any registered nurses, registered dietitians, occupational therapists, speech therapists, physical therapists, MD. So basically anyone with a certification, you fall under that category. I know some La Leche League leaders and some WIC peer counselors also fall in that category. So this pathway, you need 90 hours of lactation specific training, and I'll touch base about that in a few. And you also need 1,000 hours of clinical experience. So like I said, I fell under that particular pathway because I'm a NICU nurse. I was around breastfeeding, for the bulk of my career, and so I fell under that pathway. As far as the 1,000 hours that she mentions for clinical experience, how you have to prove that is they send you a form, and you have to fill out, okay, like what was the percentage of you being around breast milk or breastfeeding moms or pumps, etc. So you basically fill that out, and then you submit it to them. And it's really an approximation. It's not like super specific. I must admit that I was very nervous. I was like, oh my God, what if they ask for specific dates, etc. So it's like a general idea. But if you've been a nurse for 10 years in postpartum, labor and delivery, NICU, or in the newborn nursery, like you've been around breast milk, you've been around breastfeeding moms, and so you can, adjust your hours accordingly, submit it, and yeah, so that's what you basically have to do in order to meet that particular criteria. As far as the 90-hour lactation specific training, so I did not have that, so I had to then sign up for her specific classes. And what that is, it's basically about 40 chapters, and it really touches on everything that you can imagine and expect in the final exam to become a lactation consultant. One of the books that is highly recommended is the Breastfeeding and Human Lactation book. Enhanced 5th edition by Karen Wembach and Jen Riordan. As you can see, I use my book like I use it. So this is like a gold mine. This is the breastfeeding Bible. This is what I use to do my readings. This is what I used when I had a certain scenario and I could not remember for the life of me the answer. I mean, this book is really amazing. It has all the information. This is what I use to study for my lactation consultant exam. And then as you go through different chapters, you do have the opportunity to print, to use the printouts. And this is only half of the stuff that I use for my class, but basically every week, or I don't know how often it'll take you to go through chapters, but you have, just like back in college, you have PowerPoints, and she is talking to you. You go through the PowerPoints, you can write your own notes. So I really enjoyed that. I like the fact that she put the PowerPoints up there for those who are more visual. And then she also had a great list of references in addition to the textbook. So yes, the textbook is really great, but she also added like, a bunch of articles and other resources where you can go dig deeper and to get more information. So those are basically like the only resources and the only books that I got. I did not buy any other books. This was plenty. This really, really was. All right, so that was pathway 1. So once I was done with my 90 hours, she then sends you a certificate, which basically says that you become, I think it's called a specialist. Yes, certified breastfeeding specialist. So once you're done with proving that you have 1,000 hours, you have completed your 90-hour education, you get a certificate saying you are a certified breastfeeding specialist. You are not a lactation consultant, but you are a specialist. So once you've gotten all of that, you can then sit for the board. So the board happens twice a year, in October and in April. I sat in April and I got my results in December. So it's about a two and a half window to get your results back. And then in April, I'm assuming that the results are in May, like beginning of June. The exam was 2 parts. The first part was multiple choice. The second part were scenarios with actual pictures. So you would have to pick out, what is this, et cetera, et cetera. So those were the 2 parts of the exam. It is in an isolated room with other people who may or may not be taking the same test as you. There are 175 questions and you have to go through all of them. So it's not like the NCLEX where it shuts down like after a certain period, whether you pass or fail. You have to go through the whole 175 and you have to get, I think, 130 over 175. Whatever percentage that is. Yeah. So that's basically it. And then once you pass, then you become a lactation consultant. So that was pathway 1. Pathway 2, and this is for the people who basically don't have a medical background. And I will describe to you how she sets it up on her website, or how she describes it. So this pathway is the pathway for those who have varying levels of education and or experience, but don't currently work in that particular area. So like I said, you do not have to be a medical professional to become a lactation consultant. You just gotta wanna do it, right? And so what this particular pathway requires, you have to have or get college courses and general education. And then on the website, she has a list of different classes that you can take. You also need 90 hours of lactation specific training, and you also need 500 hours of supervised clinical experience, meaning that you have to have quote unquote an internship, or you have to follow someone to have an idea of what it's like to become a lactation consultant. So in order for you to sit for the board, being a non-medical person, those are the 3 criterias. And like I said, the website is really, really easy to navigate. It's straight to the point. The prices are affordable. I want to say that it was about $1,000 Yeah, I remember it was $9.75 for the class, and then the book, and then the exam is about $6.50, $6.75. But if you work at a company and they support continuing education, look into it and they may reimburse you. Right. So now we're going to move on to tips and tricks on how to pass the exam the first time around. So what I have found is doing the questions over and over and over again. So at the end of the 40 or 45 chapters of your lactation training courses, she has 2 or 3 exams in which you take, and then you can retake, and rework the questions. Go back to your book if you missed the answer, etc. So I think, like I said, 2 or 3 exams that she has on there, and I just did them until I was blue in the face. When I got a question wrong, I would go back in the book and look. I would go back into the PowerPoints and look and try to understand what she was asking. The exam ranges from all the topics that are taught in this program. And so I think it's a great way for you to kind of prepare yourself for the actual boards. So I would say tip number 1, just do the questions over and over and over again until you're blue in the face. If you get it wrong, go back in the book. And what's good is that when you get it wrong, she gives you the right answer and she tells you where to find that particular information. So I think that's pretty awesome. Tip number 2, pace yourself. You know, some people can rush through their class and pass on the first try. Some people could take 2 years and take their time and not pass, you know, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, pace yourself, set some time aside for you to study for this particular exam, understand the material, and then, you know, properly sit for the board. It took me about, I want to say a year and a half. I think I started in April of last year, and I sat in October, so a year and a half. So I think I started April 2016. I sat in October 2018. Yeah, something like that. And so, you know, it took me some time. I started, then I stopped. I started, then I stopped. And then finally, when I gave birth to my son, I actually experienced breastfeeding. I was like, all right, now is go time. I can study, I can do this, etc., etc. And so it took me about 2 years to do the whole process. Pace yourself. You know, there's no rush. At the end of the day, you want to pass at the first try. You know, if you don't, not a big deal. You take it again. But the goal is to pass it at the first try and, you know, help moms breastfeed. Last but not least, I would definitely advise that you find a study group or a study buddy, because I think working through questions together can really help when it comes to sitting down for the boards. You know, just somebody else to pick your brain, to kind of remind you, hey, no, it's this and this. Someone to motivate you, because, you know, it is a class that can be a little challenging. You know, if you get discouraged and you have that buddy to push you, etc. So that would be my last and final tip. All right, guys, so let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if you guys are ever interested in becoming lactation consultants. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye, guys.